On the surprise, there actually has somebody in there. So my name's Craig. I met Jolie, as she said, on Donor Day this past February, and one of our coordinators at AGH, she reached out to me last week and said, "Had you heard about Jump for Jolie?" And I hadn't, and she sent me the link, the Facebook page, and I looked at it, and you know, this is right up my alley. Any types of events like this where we can get out in the community and we can talk about organ donation and cultivate these conversations with people. That's what we're passionate about. That's obviously what Jolie's passionate about. So we love getting out here in the community. My story with organ donation started about 4 years ago. I just moved to State College for a job out of grad school. And about a month after I moved there, I started experiencing some medical symptoms, and honestly, it started a shortness of breath. And back then, I was one of those guys. I did not go to the hospital. I did not take medicine. I didn't go to the doctors or anything like that. So even as the symptoms began progressing, I just kept telling everybody, "Oh, it's just a chest cold. It's just a chest cold. It'll get better. It's no big deal." Looking back in hindsight, the signs were there very broadly in my face, and I just chose to ignore them. Eventually, I did make my way to the ER in State College, where they diagnosed me with viral cardiomyopathy. So basically, I got a virus. They think it started in my respiratory system, probably. It eventually moved into my cardiac system and destroyed all the muscle around my heart. So I spent a few days in the ER in State College, and then again in my hometown of Johnstown at their ER, until I eventually made my way down to Allegheny General, where they reconfirmed my diagnosis, and they said, "You're probably going to need a heart transplant to survive." So as a 26-year-old at the time who was otherwise healthy, it was obviously a completely shocking thing to hear. Their first step was to put me on an LVAD. It stands for a left ventricular assist device, which is basically a little heart pump. They put it right into my heart, and it pumped all my blood for me. It freaked people out a little bit. So the whole time I had the LVAD, I actually didn't have a pulse. You couldn't feel a pulse on me at all. So I was literally like a dead man walking. So I'm kind of a stubborn guy. So next, with the LVAD, I wasn't going to just sit around and wait and wait and wait and. It's a troubling thing. It's a hard thing for people who are waiting for transplants to go through. So I kind of went the other direction. I got out there and I went hiking. I went to sports events. I went hunting. I went golfing. I did everything that I wanted to do for the most part with the LVAD on. About a year and a half later, I ended up getting sick and back in the ER at Allegheny General, where there was a silver lining, actually, because of my complication. They raised me to the top of the transplant list. I was in the hospital for about 10 days when the doctors came in and they said those words I've been waiting to hear. They said, "We found your heart for you." So that night I went into surgery about 1 a.m. It was a Thursday going into a Friday. That Monday I woke up. Modern medicine and medical professionals and doctors and hospital staff, they're incredible, incredible people, and they'll never fail to amaze me. I woke up for my surgery that Monday. I had a few complications that kept me under an extra 2 days. I woke up that Monday. The next day I was up and walking around the hospital. Within a week I was released to go home with my parents to start recovering. Within about 3 weeks I was at a local gym walking and doing some slight jogging. And within about 3 months, I was back up in State College, doing some light hiking, getting back to work shortly after that. So having a transplant, it's truly a completely new lease on life. You spend your time waiting for that transplant, and even if you're doing well, which I did really well waiting for mine, thankfully, because not everybody has that experience. But even when you are doing well, you just feel like your life is on pause, and you just feel like you're constantly waiting for that next thing to happen. You're waiting for that transplant so you can get back to your normal life. So for me, I recognized that, and I wanted to, I wanted to take advantage of the second chance that I got, and I wanted a chance to honor my donor, because without my donor making that choice to be an organ donor, I wouldn't be standing here today. So because of that, like Julie said, I started a nonprofit called Second Chance Fundraising. We're based out of Johnstown. I started with my best friend, and we do all kind of organ donation events every year. We do a 5K, which I actually dress as Pumper. That's the heart's name is Pumper. I wear the Pumper outfit for our 5K every summer. We raise money for CORE. We do all kind of stuff throughout the year, and it's just my way of honoring my donor. And like I said at the beginning, it's a good way to get out in the community and cultivate these conversations and get more people to recognize the change that they can make in somebody else's life by becoming an organ donor. So I want to thank everybody for coming out, and thanks for inviting me to come up for the day. I'll be hanging out around for a little bit, so appreciate it.